In this video, I'm going to show you how I made these gorgeous, beautiful glam tower candle holders using mostly Dollar Tree materials. This project was inspired by several different things, one being a design that I found on Wayfair, plus your comments have been coming in heavy on some of my old candle holders. Plus, I've been wanting to use some of my scrap materials. Those are the things that inspired me to create these. To create one of these candle holders, I start with some white foam board from Dollar Tree. And I made my smallest candle holder 2.5 inches wide by 9.5 inches long. So I just measure and cut one long strip of foam board at 2.5 inches. And then I make marks on that strip every 9 inches. And I cut those, giving me 4 panels. Next, I glue the 4 panels together to make a box. Use masking tape on the corners of my smallest candle holder to see if it makes a difference, and I did really notice one, so I did not do that to my bigger one. I have some scrap pieces that came from these mirrored plates that can be found at Dollar Tree in the wedding section. All you need is a regular pair of scissors to cut out the flat mirrored part. And as I've said before in previous videos, I'm right-handed, but you do want to make sure you cut to the left because it cuts so much better and cleaner, and it doesn't scratch the mirrors either. Use a pencil to trace out the lines on the back of your mirror to fit your panels. The mirrors need to be just a fuzz bigger than your foam board. Now, the ones you see here measure at 3 inches, but don't worry too much about getting the exact measurements because you can trim these to fit once they're glued on. Just make sure they're a little bit bigger. I start gluing these with clear adhesive glue because hot glue melts and disfigures the mirror, making it really ugly. Without applying pressure and allowing it to completely dry, sometimes the glue or the mirror actually lifts from the foam. So I discovered a little trick. I applied hot glue and then I fanned it, just a few seconds, and I let it sit for several more seconds to cool it off. So the glue is not near as hot, and then I applied my plastic mirrored piece on top of my foam. Now on 2 of my sides, I didn't let it cool off long enough, so I have a few dimples in my mirror, but I'm not too worried about it since it's the backing of the candle holder, so I just keep going. I use paper clips on the edges as clamps while it dries just to ensure that the mirrors don't lift off of the foam. And once it's dry, I covered the corners with 2 rows of adhesive diamond wrap from Dollar Tree, which I later tried to remove because it just did not want to stay stuck down, but I could not pull it off without damaging the mirror. So when I finished everything, I did go back on my candle holder trying to straighten it out. I would rather use some other type of bling or do the edges with maybe 3 rows of diamond wrap. Next, I add acrylic gems from Dollar Tree, and I do use hot glue for this since the gem is going to be covering that area anyway. At first, it seems like they're not going to stick very well. Just give it a few seconds, and when they dry, they are on there. Everything is the same between the 2 candle holders as far as how I made them, except for each one, the measurements are a little bit different, and of course I decorated them a little bit different. Now the bigger one measures at 14 inches by 3 inches. I wanted to use my leftover materials like I mentioned before, and I have these funky shape pieces that are left over from my previous project. And what I do here is I just cut along the edges and I keep the original shape. I just make it a little smoother. And I went with 8 total pieces, giving me 2 for each panel. I have 4 bigger partial circles and 4 smaller partial circles. Next, I use Mod Podge and pretty much mop it on the foam board, giving me a nice thick layer of Mod Podge. Then I place my mirrored pieces on the top of the panel. Now, the bigger circles are at the top right, and my smaller ones are on the bottom left. I use silver glitter to cover the Mod Podge, and then I set that in front of a fan for several seconds. I never worked on another side without the one I was working on being completely dry. And that's to avoid damaging or smudging any areas of my panels, so I have a nice neat look. Also add another coat of Mod Podge, and the second time around I barely barely covered the edges with just a little bit of Mod Podge, and that's to ensure that it wouldn't lift. And I go back with one more final coat of Mod Podge as a sealant to prevent any of the glitter from shedding. Now it's time to decorate. Did each one a little different because I'm using scrap pieces. And some of my pieces I have like 3 or 4 rows of bling, and then some I have 6 or 8, and then 2. So I just combined all of those, especially with the mosaic mirrors. I just combined all of those to try to create an outline on everything. Now, one gem that I love on this are the clear adhesive gems, much like the jot gems that you can find at Dollar Tree. To use diamond wrap on the flat panels. And so once I have it all trimmed out and decorated, I tie the themes of the 2 candle holders in by using some of these small little gems that I got from Michael's. I just start gluing these kind of randomly all over the mirrored parts. Next, I create platforms for the candle holders with these wooden Jenga blocks from Dollar Tree. I made my platforms to be 4 inches by 4 inches, and I glued 12 blocks together with hot glue. I have 6 on the top and 6 on the bottom. I painted them with white acrylic paint just because I didn't want them to be bare, and then I go over one side of them with Mod Podge and glitter. So when it dries, I go around the platform with some mosaic mirror tiles, and I'll link that below if you're interested. And then I added 4 2-inch mirrors on the top. Now for the top and the bottom base, I'll be using a 4-pack of small mirrored bowls from Dollar Tree, and I'm using 2 for each candle holder. Now you have to watch this really close because these are shaped so funky. Now with the bowl face down, all you do is get an idea of how you want the body to sit on top of the bowl without applying any pressure at all, because if you apply pressure when it dries, it's actually going to dry crooked. So be very careful here. Do not apply pressure. Just take your hot glue gun, get you some hot glue and get it on your bowl, and then just let the body rest on the bowl. Give it about 2 or 3 minutes. You're going to feel it grab. And then after you feel it grab, just flip your candle holder upright. And now you can add all the glue you need to add. You have a much better angle and you can really get in there. So make sure you glue it good and don't worry so much about how it looks right now. So I know not everyone has mosaic mirror tiles, and honestly, that's just my favorite look. That's what I prefer. But I did do one with acrylic gems. And all I do is just glue them around the transitional spot, and that's going to be where it turns from your body to your base. If you like the small mirrors or just, maybe strips of bling, you can cut whatever adhesive bling that you're using. But I do want to recommend you make it at least 3 rows of whatever you're using wide. Make sure you have your bling on your corner edges all cleared and removed out of the way for the transitional bling so that it lays flat all the way around, giving you a nice smooth finish from body to base. Next, I placed the mirrored platform on the top bowl, and I did not glue it, but I do highly recommend gluing your bowl onto your platform if you're going to be leaving it setting out. And then at the bottom, I just went with a 5x5 mirror, and I just placed my candle holder on top of that, and I placed a full-size candle on the platform. So, of these two, which one of these is your favorite? I would love to know your thoughts about this DIY. If you're inspired to recreate this project, remember, I would love to see your version and how you decorated yours. I'm on Facebook at Creative Living Lifestyles, and my email is always in the box below with a ton of other helpful information related to this project.